Jungkook without the safety net, why Jungkook sounds even better when the music fades. What happens when you stop listening to the song as a recording and start listening to the singer? In Jungkook's recent live performances, the answer can be surprisingly revealing. A tiny ad-lib, an unexpected harmony, a changed note, or a vocal run can tell us more about a singer than a perfectly reproduced studio line. And one of the best places to hear that instinct is right at the beginning of Like Animals, where Jungkook adds something to studio. Recording cannot fully capture personality. Like Animals is one of the tracks on BTS's 2026 album Arirang, released on March 20th. The song moves between atmospheric vocals and darker, more intimate textures, and Jungkook's contribution immediately stands out for its light, controlled head voice. But in live performance, the interesting part is not simply whether he reproduces the recorded notes, it is how he reshapes them. His small vocal inflections and ad-libs become a form of musical conversation with the audience rather than a mechanical reproduction of the track. That distinction matters because an ad-lib is not simply a singer adding extra notes. It requires timing, pitch awareness, breath coordination, and an understanding of the harmony underneath the melody. Jungkook often uses these moments to extend a phrase, answer another vocal line, or add emotional emphasis after the expected melody has already finished. Rolling Stone specifically highlighted this aspect of his artistry, noting that he gives audiences new ad-libs and unexpected vocal riffs that keep performances interesting. That is improvisational instinct, not just the vocal range. And then comes Arirang, where the challenge changes completely. Here, Jungkook's voice is placed inside a song carrying enormous cultural and emotional weight. Instead of relying on flashy vocal effects, listen to the way he shapes sustained notes, controls vibrato, and changes intensity within a phrase. These details are easy to miss when thousands of fans are screaming around him, but they reveal something important. Technical control is not only about reaching a note, it is about deciding exactly how that note should feel. The scale of the performance makes that control even more significant. BTS's 2026 Arirang World Tour has taken the group into stadiums with audiences exceeding 80,000 people. Their MetLife shows alone drew more than 82,000 attendees, according to the New York Post. In that environment, a vocalist has to project emotion across an enormous space while dealing with movement, adrenaline, monitors, crowd noise, and constantly changing stage conditions. A voice that remains expressive under those circumstances is doing much more than simply reproducing a studio recording. Then comes Into the Sun, and Jungkook reveals another side of his voice. The song closes Arirang and moves into a more atmospheric, vocoder-heavy sound. Critics have described the album's final track as stripped back and emotionally ambiguous. But the live version gives the vocal line a different kind of freedom. Recent audience reactions repeatedly singled out Jungkook's live delivery and his return to expressive ad-libs. Instead of merely matching the recording, he makes space inside the melody for emotion, timing, and personality. This is where the idea of live singing becomes more interesting. The strongest live performance is not necessarily the one that sounds identical to the studio version. A great singer can preserve the musical identity of a song while allowing small variations to happen naturally. A note may be approached differently. A vowel may be extended, a phrase may become softer or stronger. An ad-lib may appear where the audience does not expect it. These changes show that the singer is controlling the song rather than simply following it. Professional observers have noticed this quality in Jungkook for years. Vocal coach Jennifer Glatzhofer's analysis of his 2023 Standing Next to You performance focused on the combination of singing and demanding performance. Her reaction is significant because the performance required Jungkook to maintain vocal quality while moving continuously. Other published descriptions have emphasized the same balance. Korean writer Kim Min-soo praised his ability to maintain stable intonation while dancing, while Consequence's Mary Siraki described his voice as clear and dexterous, qualities particularly suited to pop music. But vocal stability is only one part of the story. Jungkook's real advantage may be his ability to move between different vocal colors without losing his identity. Listen to the difference between the softer head voice in Like Animals, the more open and emotionally resonant delivery in Arirang, and the atmospheric phrasing of Into the Sun. These are not three identical versions of the same singer. They reveal different choices in tone, placement, dynamics, and emotional weight. Technical ability becomes meaningful when it gives an artist more choices. That evolution becomes even clearer when we finally return to Euphoria, compared with the new 2026 performances. It belongs to an earlier chapter of Jungkook's career, yet it remains useful because it lets us hear a foundation that was already there. His voice had the clarity, flexibility, and emotional directness that would later become more refined. The point is not that the younger Jungkook sounded exactly like today's Jungkook. The point is that the musical instincts were already visible. And Euphoria is especially powerful because producer Jordan DJ Swivel Young once presented Jungkook's original vocal during a production lecture, allowing listeners to hear the voice behind the finished record. That distinction matters. It is easy for fans to isolate vocals from a concert using software and call them raw, but an original vocal supplied from the production process is a much stronger reference point. It allows us to compare the recorded foundation with the choices Jungkook makes when he performs the song live. His solo performances also reveal why vocal technique cannot be reduced to high notes. Jungkook has built a reputation through songs such as Standing Next to You, Still With You, Hate You, and Yes or No, each demanding a different combination of tone, rhythm, phrasing, register, and emotional delivery. High notes may create the biggest reaction, but the more revealing moments are often the transitions between them. How smoothly he changes register, how he approaches a note, and how naturally he returns to the next phrase. High notes may create the biggest reaction, but the more revealing moments are often the transitions between them. How smoothly he changes register, how he approaches a note, and how naturally he returns to the next phrase. Industry professionals have offered unusually direct praise for these qualities. Grammy-winning producer Nitty, who worked on Arirang recently, said that what impressed him most was Jungkook's live voice, adding that he had mastered everything perfectly. Arirang composer Tyler Spry similarly praised Jungkook's pitch control, while Grammy-winning producer Diplo has previously said Jungkook did not need auto-tune and called his voice perfect. These comments do not prove that every live performance is flawless, but they do show that experienced producers notice the same technical qualities audiences hear. There is also a reason Jungkook's ad-libs matter so much to this story. There are moments where there is no need to simply obey the recording. Rolling Stone's description of him specifically mentioned his ability to deliver unexpected vocal riffs, while music critic Kim Youngdae has praised the detailed and expressive quality of his vocal technique. In other words, Jungkook's strength is not simply possessing a good instrument. It is knowing how to use that instrument differently from one moment to the next. So perhaps the most interesting thing about Jungkook's live singing is not whether he can hit a difficult note. We already know he can. The more revealing question is what he does after the expected note is over. Does he add a run, change the phrasing, hold the vowel, alter the dynamics, add a harmony that was never there before? Those tiny decisions are where a singer stops being a performer, reproducing a song, and starts becoming an artist interpreting it. That is why Jungkook's recent performances feel like more than demonstrations of vocal ability. From the subtle ad-libs in Like Animals, through the emotional control of Arirang, the evolving phrasing of Into the Sun, and finally back to Euphoria and his technically demanding solo work, the pattern becomes clear. The voice has changed, matured, and expanded, but the instinct has remained. The music can get quieter, the arrangement can disappear, and the audience can stop screaming. Jungkook still has something left to say, and that may be the real measure of a live singer.